April favorites, let's talk about them. It's been a while. How have you been? I've missed you. April was a busy month for me. My friend and I decided to kind of like start up our own little party decor sort of business. If you happen to be local and you go to River Point, you would have seen several of our backdrops during Easter. I've just had a really good time getting back into arts and crafts, just exploring that crafty side that I kind of forgot about. I've always loved, not necessarily drawing, but just like crafting in general. So we made a really cool like tassel wall, a balloon garland, a really pretty floral wall. It was a lot of fun. So that's where I've been, but I hope you guys all had an amazing April. I thought I would sit down and talk about some of my favorites since it's been a minute. So starting off with palettes, I have two of them. So many of y'all have been recommending Pat McGrath palettes to me for years now, and I just wasn't really willing to spend the money on that. But then one of you guys so kindly gave me a heads up that Pat McGrath had a sale. Things were already on sale and there was an additional like 50% off if you signed up for her emails. And I ended up scoring the Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction palette for like $40 or maybe like $50 after shipping. While I do love a majority of the colors in here, there's really only like 4 main shades that I use constantly. It's this rose gold color here, which I have over, I guess, front half portion of my lid. It is stunning. If I could buy that in a single, I would. In fact, I should see if that is available because I wouldn't necessarily want to travel with this palette all the time. At the same time, I'd want access to that shadow, as well as this kind of like iridescent pearl shade down here. They are stunning. Like, I mean, molten metallic in your face, just high shine amazingness. Since it comes with that high price tag, it definitely backs it up with the packaging. This thing is hefty. When I got it in the mail, I did not expect it to be like this heavy. It has a solid mirror. The palette overall is just very well made. So the shimmer that you see all over my lid is from Pat McGrath, but then everything else on my eyes is from NARS. This is their summer unrated palette. I'm pretty sure this is the newest eyeshadow palette from their line. I personally love this one. This is so pretty for spring and summer, even into fall. If you love warm tones, but you don't want to be restricted to like just oranges or just mauves, I think you would love this because you have some peach tones, really light rosy mauve tones, and then just your traditional like warm brown, bronzy, orangey shades. It is just so beautiful. These two shades right here I've been loving for just like my crease or transition color. They're stunning. You do have one of the pressed glitters in here. I have yet to use every single shade in the palette, but I'd say I've used more than half so far in everything that I have used. I've been very impressed with it. Just in the pan, it doesn't look that impressive. I feel like that's the case with a lot of NARS products. Like when it comes to eyeshadows, you look at it in the pan, it looks like some of them would just be kind of like dull and drab, but then on the eyes, they really do pack a punch. I've always found NARS eyeshadows to be incredibly blendable. I feel like NARS is more well known for their cheek products and their lip products, but I've personally always been a fan of their eye products as well. Sticking with NARS, I've been raving about this. Ugh, everything is so dirty and fingerprinted, but I mean, just goes to show that I've really been using it a lot. This is one of their cheek duos, also from the Summer Unrated collection. This one has Orgasm X and Casino. Now, I've never really been a fan of just the traditional Orgasm blush. I don't know, I'm not crazy about like light pink blushes on myself unless it has more of like a coral tone to it, and that's what Orgasm X has. This is just the perfect cheek duo for me. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, I swear that Casino used to be even deeper than this. Like, it's always been darker than Laguna, but I swore it was darker than what's in this pan right now, but that's fine because this is actually the perfect tone for me. Sometimes Laguna can be a little bit too light where I want a little bit more oomph to my bronzer, and this shade is perfect. And then Orgasm X is so much better than the traditional formula. The original Orgasm, like, you would get a little bit of a glow from it, but from actual glitter particles, whereas their newer one, it's like a built-in highlighter. You get this gorgeous sheen that just melts into this corally pinky blush. I find that it's the perfect blush for spring and summer months. I love it. I know this has been out for a while. I was getting several DMs asking about my thoughts on it because I've been a huge fan of NARS. I'm a huge fan of it, but I can't think of the name. Sheer Glow, there we go, wow. And then I did really like the Natural Radiant for a while whenever it was first launched, but I have to say I do prefer the Light Reflecting Foundation much more. Sheer Glow is still my #1 favorite, and then this one, and then it would be the, I can't even think, Natural Radiant, something like that. The names are always too long. All right, here we go. I was close. The Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. So this is my third, like if I had to line them up, this would come after the Light Reflecting Foundation. In fact, I feel like I could get rid of this because I prefer this so much more. I find this to be way more matte than the Light Reflecting Foundation, but I do think you get more coverage out of natural radiance. So if you are more like normal to slightly oily, you want more of a full coverage, I think you would get that out of this. However, if you are like normal to slightly dry, I think you would really like this. The only thing is, one of the claims says that it's like blurry, fine line reducing. I don't find that to be the case. In fact, I feel like most people with textured skin wouldn't really like this that much because I don't really feel like it has a blurring factor at all. The first time I thought it did, but then I realized it was because I was using Orc Glow Lust underneath. But on its own, I don't find that it does anything for my pores, my fine lines, or my wrinkles. But what I love about it is the way that it dries down. I don't have to powder it at all, and it still feels very comfortable to touch right on my face. There's no sort of like tackiness. It doesn't break down weird throughout the day. But if you have any dry patches, I do notice that it catches on those areas. So I always really like to make sure that I go in and prep my skin. I would say that it has more of a true medium coverage. I know that it says buildable, but I honestly feel like it kind of just stops at medium coverage, which is perfect for me. So for longevity, medium coverage, nice glow, the way that it feels on my skin, A+++, I've been really enjoying it. One other complexion product, the Hourglass. Isn't this just ambient concealer? Vanish Airbrush concealer or something like that. I have mine in the shade Cedar. Now, if you caught my last video, which was like, feels like a decade ago now, I did an entire face of makeup for under, I think like 30 bucks. I used all OUAI products. I had mentioned that the concealer in that video was really high coverage and good. It is, but after testing it for a couple weeks, it's still not as long wearing as this Hourglass concealer. This is a pricey concealer, but I have to say it's worth every freaking penny. You only need a tiny bit. Most of my concealers, I always go in with a damp beauty blender, and it's my favorite way for application. However, with this, I find that the best way to apply it is with my Morphe M713 brush. This does come with a concealer. Well, it doesn't come with, you have to purchase it. The brush is also like another 30 something dollars. This works just as well. The shape is slightly different, but this brush and this concealer together, the duo is just amazing. It just blends it out perfectly. You only need the tiniest bit. While it is expensive, I'm telling you, this stretches such a long way. Whenever you first apply, it has more of a liquidy consistency, but it doesn't dry down immediately. The dry down is actually perfect where it doesn't stay like so tacky where it wants to crease, but it doesn't dry down so much to where it just like emphasizes any sort of fine line and wrinkles on your under eyes. I'm so impressed by the coverage. I know I'm like one of the last people ever to try it, but I was never a fan of the Hourglass foundation, so I just always overlooked the concealer, but I get the hype. It is so beautiful. Just don't waste your money on the brush unless you're just a bougie brush gal, then I mean, go for it. But if you're wanting to save a few shekels, well, a lot of shekels, go with the Morphe M173. I cannot memorize anything right now. These are still slightly new-ish from IT Cosmetics. They are the Superhero No Tug Shadow Sticks. The name, I don't know if I would say no tug because these are definitely on the drier side in comparison to something like the Laura Mercier Caviar Sticks. With the Laura Mercier Shadow Sticks, I feel like I could go in and apply it all over my lid and then still have a pretty wide window to go in and buff the product out. However, with these IT Cosmetics ones, I personally feel like they tug on my eyelids and they dry down pretty quickly, but I love to use them as a drier eyeshadow base, if that makes sense. For instance, I really like to go in and use the shade Courageous Cream. This is just like a matte bone beige shade. I'll use that all over my lid whenever I want to apply something to really pop on top. And then for all over my waterline, I guess the metallics are much creamier than the mattes, which may be the case with the Laura Mercier ones, but even the matte Laura Mercier ones still buff out beautifully. The matte ones in the IT Cosmetics, I just noticed they dry down pretty quickly. I feel like the Laura Mercier Caviar Sticks are far superior, but every now and then it's just fun to have something new, and these are just what I've been playing with lately. Okay, moving on to lips. There hasn't really been one specific lip color that I've been wearing all month. If you are curious, for the base of my lips, I'm using the NYX Lipliner in the shade Ever. I've loved those. They're like I think they're $4.99. They used to be $2.99, but they're extremely affordable and I feel like they work just as well as my MAC lip liners and other higher end lip liners. But the star product today is this Essence Extreme Shine Volume Lip Gloss. They had sent over pretty much all their lip glosses, but this clear gloss is one of the best clear glosses I've tried in forever, which is great for me and you because I want to say it's like $2.99 or $3.99. The formula of this is so good. It has the perfect thickness to it. Sometimes clear glosses are either too thin and greasy to where they break down whatever lip product you have underneath, or they're so thick and goopy that you get that like nasty stringy spitty lines. You don't get that with this. There is a very subtle scent. I can't figure out what it is. I mean, it doesn't smell like anything special. It just has vanilla or fruity. It's almost like a fruity vanilla smell to it. I do have other shades. They're nice, but everyone needs a good clear gloss in their collection. I'm someone who loves more of my lip liners, more so than I do like my lipsticks and my glosses. I feel like I have so many great nude everyday mauve, berry, or just true brown nude lip liners in my collection. And then my actual like lipsticks and glosses I don't love as much. So clear gloss is just a must have, and this one is so nice, especially for the price tag. For highlighter, I've been loving this little baby right here. This is either $1 or $1.25. Whenever Taylor was visiting Texas, we went to the Shop Miss A store together, and I grabbed the Glow Baby liquid highlighter in the shade Afterglow and Morning Glow. I went in with the tiniest bit, and that's what I have on my cheeks right now. These are the sorts of highlighters I love. Something that is like glowy and gives you that sheen without actual pieces of glitter in it. And whenever highlighters are liquid, I just feel like you get a true highlight look rather than sometimes you'll have a highlighter, but if it's a powder, it's like she's glowing, but she's kind of dusty at the same time. This is like a true dewy plump glow. It comes in several shades. The container is tiny, but it's potent. You only need a tiny bit of it. This little bad boy right here, I grabbed this from Ulta as well. This is the e.l.f. Brow Lift Applicator. I've loved the Got to Be Ultra Spiked Hard Glue Gel for well over a year now, and this is the best applicator. Before, I would always go in with a spoolie and then use like the back end of an eyeshadow brush or like an eyebrow razor to smooth everything down, but this is both things in one. You have your spoolie, and then you have this flat tipped where you can go in and really just press and glue those hairs down. I know the laminated brow look isn't for everyone. I love it. I feel like it just kind of gives you an instant brow lift. If you don't like them, that's okay. I feel like I have to give that disclaimer every time because people are either like, oh, I love your brows, or other people are like, you're really gonna hate those brows in 5 years. But I'm like, you know what? That's okay. There's a lot of things that I hate 5 years later, and if my brows end up being one of them, I'll get over it. And then finally, for hair, I purchased the OUAI Wave Spray. I had tried this in my hair during a Vera Bradley shoot several months back. Shannon, the amazing hairstylist and makeup artist on set, used it in my hair. I loved it. At first I swore I loved the scent, but now I kind of hate it. It's like a very strong grandma sort of floral smell. It's not bad when it's mixed with other products, but on its own, it kind of gives me a little bit of a headache. But luckily for me, I go in and I mix it with a gel that smells like coconut, so it kind of like tones down. This scent here, if you have any sort of natural wave in your hair, you want to add that body back into your hair, but without adding any like crunchy sort of texture, this is perfect. It enhances the waves, but without leaving like the typical heaviness that a lot of other sea salt sprays do. I think I should have it like in my archives. I'll go ahead and post here on the side. I went in with just a curl enhancing or wave enhancing gel that I found from HEB. Went in with that and then a little bit of this, and it was just like the perfect texture to my hair. Gave it a light blowing with my diffuser and then let the rest air dry, and it was like the perfect beachy, effortless, wavy sort of look. So I've really been liking this. And then the very final product I have, this is a newer brand to me. It's called Australian Glow. I've used their tanner as well. This has such a freaking dark color guard. It's almost shocking at first, but then once you do the first wash, I feel like the tone is just right for me. It has a really nice olive undertone. The tanner is the ultra dark 1 Hour Express Self Tan Mousse. It smells, there is a smell to it, but the way that it fades off is really nice because it just like fades off very evenly, a lot like the Loving Tan. I was originally gonna purchase the Loving Tan, their new like platinum one, but all the girls at Ulta were telling me that it's horrible, that it's super dark, but like it crackles off. So I was just like, no, thank you. So I've really been liking this, but this is perfect, especially for me. I always take all my skincare, all my acids down to my neck. So sometimes the retinol or something will just like break the tanner apart there to where you're left with like tan and then like white broken up lines from skincare. So this has been perfect for me. This is the Australian Glow Ultra Fine Facial Bronzing Mist with rose water. After I shower, I'll go in and I'll just mist this on my face down to my neck. neck. I don't have any on right now because I just buffed off all my tanner so I can start fresh tonight. This does have a smell as well, but I just wash it off in the morning. Like I spray it on at bed. It's like tanner and rose water in one. I just feel like I have a very sensitive nose, so I can always smell the tanner smell. If you have that issue where you notice like your neck is breaking up or like between your boobs or anything like that, this is perfect. The mist on it is so fine and just evenly distributes the product. It's a doozy. I think this only comes in one shade. Yeah, it just says Ultra Fine Facial Bronzing Mist. Oh, I almost forgot, and then I'll let you go. The book that I read this month was The Nightingale by Kristin. My mother-in-law has been recommending it to me for quite a while now, and I kept putting it off. And then one of my good friends also mentioned it as soon as I posted a screenshot on Instagram. So many of you guys were like saying that was one of your top 3 books of all time. It was so good. Now, one thing I will note, if you're someone like myself that just loves thrillers where it's just like go, 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 this isn't like that. There are parts like that, but it's definitely just more of a normal paced drama. The book wrecked me. I bawled so many times. It is such an incredible story. I saw that on the title page it said that it will be a movie soon, so I'm really excited to see that. I've mentioned this before in the past, but I'm absolutely terrible of giving a synopsis of a book or a movie without giving spoilers. So I'm just gonna keep it short and simple, and then you have to read it. I promise you will love it. It is about 2 sisters that live in German-occupied France, how they are surviving just with the Nazis coming in, and then just acts of heroism from both sides, from both sisters. It's incredible. It is so like emotionally draining, but if you are just looking for a book to give you a good cry, but that is also just an incredible story, read it. It's so good. I've heard so many of you guys say that Kristin is one of your favorite authors. If you have any other like must reads from her, leave them down below. I'm getting like semi-emotional now just thinking about that book. I cried so hard. But there you have it. There are my favorites from the month of April. I would love to hear about some of yours as well. And that's it. So have a good day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.